Bonjour à tous et à toutes, c'est Yuna l'escale exterminatrice et bienvenue sur ce let's play Tale of Arise. On en est aujourd'hui à l'épisode 34 et on part vers Lenegis ou Lenegis, je ne sais pas trop. J'espère en tout cas que vous allez bien, je le répète si nécessaire, moi je vais super bien, ravi de vous retrouver dessus. Du coup on va continuer, on va s'y mettre de suite. Donc apparemment on est donc dans un vaisseau. Je sais pas spécialement s'il appartenait à... Je pense pas, hein, mais bon, on ne sait jamais qu'il appartenait à notre cher Alphen, mais bon, on va voir ça, donc allez, on va faire un peu de blabla.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched, helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse, but then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition, unable to so much as touch another soul? Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live, but why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shionne. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Et oui, je ne savais pas du coup qu'elle avait été utilisée comme cobaye, notre chère Shionne, c'est bien dommage.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
Ok. On va aller inspecter ce beau vaisseau. C'est magnifique en tout cas. Hein. La vache. Bon. Ah.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
Ouh là là. Ok. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a un peu par là-bas? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? D'accord. Il y a des petits couloirs qui servent à rien du tout. Là aussi, ok. Juste pour faire joli. Ah. Oh, qui Sarah?
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. Well, that should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Ok, voilà, bon. Encore une fois, on a entendu les états d'âme de tout le monde. Donc, voilà, maintenant, il faut retourner parler à Dohalim. Donc allons-y, je suis désolée, je viens d'entendre justement un petit craquement dans la vidéo, je suis vraiment désolée. J'ai bougé, je sais pas, mon casque a craqué, donc excusez-moi. Allez.
Is everyone about ready?
Oh.
We'll soon be making preparations to land.
D'accord.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shionne?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
Elle me fait un peu peur quand même, cette femme en rouge.
The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shionne, we'll find them.
Il faut savoir aussi que moi j'ai joué donc à la version Xbox One juste avant, j'en suis arrivé là. Donc en fait, quand j'ai eu la version série X et S, j'ai dû recommencer le jeu. D'où le fait d'ailleurs que je le fais avec vous actuellement. Mais sachez qu'arrivé là, je connais pas le jeu en fait. Voilà, donc c'est seulement là pour moi que c'est une totale découverte. Encore, bon, il y a des choses que je me rappelais plus avant. Mais là, pour moi, c'est totale découverte.
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really
on va
hope we
rester
don't
sur
have
nos
to fight
gardes.
anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
Magnifique, hein?
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shionne's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Eh ben, allons-y. Alors, des membres qui étaient partis sont revenus. Bah oui, on s'est juste séparés dedans. Oh, tu me fais rire. Bon, encore du blabla. Hein. Je suis désolée, mais c'est vrai qu'il y en a beaucoup.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renins actually live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
Ah ouais.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after all.
Des aigles et tout qui vivent ici. Eh ben mes aïeux. Des aigles, des machines, des gens. Ah voilà quoi, tout un attirail. Alors je regarde bien s'il y a quelque chose. Regardez-moi ça quand même, ça reste magnifique. Hein. Mine de rien, très joli. Allez, hop, allons-y. Donc on est enfin arrivé à Lenegis. Oula, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé ici? Ah oui, oula.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shionne. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans
Ok,
among us should
donc...
probably...
Oh, encore du blabla, mais
What
c'est
could be so
incroyable ça.
important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana, and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. You don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
Ouais, je pense pas que ça fait partie du tournoi de la couronne, quoi. Je pense qu'il y a autre chose derrière
I've
encore, hein,
been
forcément,
wondering,
quoi.
do you think when
Forcément.
Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shionne. I'm sure we will.
Oh, pardon. Hop, excusez-moi, j'en profitais vite fait pour faire un petit réglage du casque. Donc voilà, on y est, on va se mettre donc à parler à tout le monde. On va essayer de voir un petit peu tout ce qui se passe? Bon là ça veut pas me parler. Ah ah. Oh les enfants. Pauvre loulou. Bah ouais, j'en doute pas. Il y a quelque chose, hein. C'est vrai que s'ils ont ça en lance, enfin s'ils ont fait ça en lançant l'encre.
What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zugals have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Ça c'est bien. Déesse de la gentillesse. Ah bah tiens. Alors, excusez-moi. Je vais me servir un petit verre de Perrier. Hop là. Donc augmentation, capacité, j'y ai max. Ok. Ah oui, bon de toute façon j'ai pas de points, donc faut avoir. Mais ferme-toi, nom de Dieu. Ah ouais, il y a pas mal de choses. Hein. Frappe au pistolet là. Provoque une pluie de faisceaux lumineux. Ça peut être vraiment bien. Réduction de temps de lancement des hards pendant un combo, ah ouais. Amélioration des hards de guérison, ça, alors ça. Bon. Très bien, voyons voir. Oh, il y a un petit coffre par ici. Faut vraiment fouiller un peu partout.
Vision of beauty? That's a bit much.
Alf?
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Mais tout tourne quand même autour de ce tournoi là, hein. Donc tournoi du seigneur là, donc c'est assez étrange quand même. Du moins ici. Après, à ce qu'on a pu entendre, c'est que oui, tout est fait ici pour faire le tournoi, pour sélectionner des comment qu'ils appellent, des seigneurs. Donc c'est assez chiant. Hein?
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home is all.
I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
Bah oui, tu
I was
m'étonnes.
hoping to head
Tout est
this way
sans dessus.
myself. The situation is a real pain, huh? I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Ah oui.
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Et oui, les rangs, les
Well, we
seigneurs, les
canvassed the city
machins,
for
c'est
information.
très
What do you
étrange.
think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shionne, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign, though it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that two sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
Oh, pardon. Bon. Voilà, j'en ai profité du coup pour changer de casque en espérant que vous entendiez plus les craquements. Que dire, hein? Énormément de questions, de plus en plus. Attendez, le dernier blabla, j'espère.
I didn't
On en
realize
reparle après.
Renans oppressed their own kind too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Et encore du blabla. Oh, ça me saoule. Donc oui, c'est vrai qu'il y a pas mal de choses en 300 ans depuis qu'Alphen est atterri sur l'autre, enfin sur la planète mère, hein, enfin, ou autre. Il y a pu s'en passer des choses. Maintenant que Volran soit de mèche avec la femme en rouge, j'en suis persuadée.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alphen and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Allez, c'est parti. Ah bah, ouais, d'accord. D'accord, ok. Ça fait longtemps, dis donc.
With nobody left to run
pas
the
été
show,
loin.
I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, they're sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
Ah, il doit bien avoir
But
quelqu'un, hein.
Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Bah quand même, oui, un peu,
Yeah,
quoi.
a little.
Bah voilà.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Ok, une petite quête comme ça. Oui, vas-y, mais là, hein, j'ai envie de te dire. Alors... Erwosley, Tel d'Ilis, Seigneur Balsef. Ok, d'accord, ok. Les protecteurs pour les membres de sa maison.
Yes!
D'accord.
Yes!
D'accord.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Ah, ah ouais, d'accord. On est des subalternes. Ah bah dis donc. Oh là là. Eh ben dis donc, oui, c'est une grande fan de Dohalim.
all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Attendez, on va prendre le petit coffre par ici. Voilà, des fraises. Ouh, des fraises, miam miam. Ok, il n'y a plus rien. Allez.
What?
Donc lui, il est pour la maison Valkyries. Donc il soutient le seigneur Ganabelt. Enfin, Valkyries, pardon.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However,
Regardez si on avait
in my mind,
d'autres.
while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
Ouais, je me suis pris un poteau.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the
Pardon me.
Ah oui, l'autre folle là. Almadria. Almedria, pardon. Oh là là. Ah oui, elle s'est débarrassée tout le monde de sa famille, dis donc celle-là. D'accord, ok. Oh là là.
I guess her willingness to
Voilà,
stoop
laissez
to any
tranquille.
low
Elle est
came from
vénère, elle,
the
hein.
survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Bah non, vous n'aurez pas communiqué par votre souverain. Et c'est très étrange d'ailleurs.
Ridiculous. Okay.
C'est Volran quoi. Ah oui. Bah oui.
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volran either.
I remember being
Apparemment.
quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
Donc tout le monde
Think about
ignore
it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
ce que fait vraiment
Yeah,
Volran quoi.
despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces. and nothing exemplifies that more than the lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shionne and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Eh oui. Bon, bah continuons du coup. Essayons de trouver cette espèce de zone interdite. Voilà, ah oui, d'accord. Ok. Alors je vais fouiller un peu partout pour voir si j'ai pas de coffre ou autre, hein, parce que ça c'est, voilà. C'est la base. Ok. Ah, bon d'accord.
There's something I just don't get.
Oh là là.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Ouais, parce que là, plus vous parlez, mes gens, et plus ça soulève de questions que de réponses. Donc, j'avoue qu'il y a énormément de choses, là. On se pose beaucoup de questions et je les comprends parce qu'arrivé là, ouais, enfin, il n'y a pas plus de réponses que ça, quoi. Donc, on verra, j'ai envie de vous dire. Ah, mais j'en reviens là, c'est pas possible. Hein?
Faria.
Oula.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already.
Oh, dis donc, elle est méchante, elle.
Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Oh! Elle était là, la femme en rouge, elle était derrière vous, bordel!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Ouais, mais vu comment Feria était en colère, j'en suis persuadée que la femme en rouge va l'utiliser d'une quelconque façon, de toute façon. C'est sûr même d'ailleurs, je vois la chose bien arriver. J'en suis persuadée. Alors, 58 minutes de vidéo pour au moins 46 minutes de blabla. Au moins. Pas de coffre, je regarde un peu partout derrière les arbres et autres. Là-bas.
I can't wait to start making our meal.
Ooh, we having something new to eat?
Yep, now that we have all the ingredients.
Ah, encore une fois.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah. It must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shionne's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shionne. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
Beaucoup de vérité hein, sur cet épisode.
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply
Ok, donc y a
officer
rien
over
du
there.
tout.
If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer
Un
their
petit
assistance.
tour. Et puis s'en vont. C'est
What do you say
parti.
we check back in on the ranch?
Oh, attendez. Oh, génial. Oh, regardez sur le côté, c'est mignon ces petites plantes là. Alors, voyons voir. Bon, j'ai pas eu beaucoup de choses, hein, mon grand, du coup. Oh, le gladius. Ah ouais. Ah ouais, mais 12 000, hein. Oh là là, regardez-moi ça. Il y en a des nouveaux. C'est trop bien. Ah, mais il faut des sous, hein. 12 000, quoi. Oh là là, ça perd les chaussettes, ça fait énorme. Attends, il y en a certains, là, je pourrais acheter. Hein. Regardez celui-là, il est trop stylé. Bouclier rose ronron. Attendez, est-ce que je peux vendre certaines... Ouais, déjà, ça. Hop. Mais bon, ça fait pas tout. Ah, mais tout ça, j'en ai besoin, quoi. À part peut-être les premiers. Voilà, ceux qui coûtent pas très très cher, ça peut... Donc les fers noirs, ah bah oui. Je sais que normalement, bon voilà, faut pas trop vendre au niveau des armes et compagnie, étant donné qu'on en a besoin des fois pour faire bouclier, le plus mal, d'accord. T'en vendre les premiers. Ah là j'en ai tout plein. Ça après, ça on s'en fout un peu, j'ai envie de vous dire. Non. Ça, les vêtements là sont ni des skis ni rien du tout, donc on peut se permettre de les vendre. Mince. Non. Donc là, elle, je ne peux pas encore, il me manque des choses. Ah, j'adore celui-là, il est trop mignon. Mais bon. Donc Shionne, je n'ai pas pu parce qu'il me faut encore de l'os mégaphone. Ouais, vous avez vu l'engin quoi. Oh la vache. Du coup, on se contentera de ce qu'on a pour le moment et je trouve ça très bien. Ah oui, bah ouais. Je n'ai pas assez, ce n'est pas grave.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
J'ai vu que tout à l'heure j'ai gagné une recette. Oh. Oh, regardez ça. Bah c'est ça, parfait de luxe, ok. Attaque élémentaire 2. Marque sacrée, jus de légumes, bonus de minerais rares, ça j'en aurais bien besoin. On va faire ça. On va le faire avec qui, Sarah?
This looks perfect. Guaranteed to hit the spot.
Damn
Oh là là.
it. Lenegis
Bonjour.
soldiers.
Oula.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Ah bah,
So much
non.
for them not wanting to fight.
I am Lord Dohalim of Elder Menentia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one. Ignite!
Take this!
I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more! You're mine! You're mine!
Ah non.
Its armor's too strong! It'll split it open! Be my guest!
Primed and ready! I never miss! Illuminate
Ignite!
Holy lamp!
I'm ready!
Dohalim! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes!
The
Breath
flames
of
will
life!
roar!
Heal my weary companion!
Mega ray!
Radiant light!
Here! The wind!
We're not finished!
Allow me to help.
Mega ray! Lock! Get toasty!
Bird strike!
Those soldiers
un peu
seem
de combat
different from
depuis
the
tout à l'heure. Ah bah
citizens we've
d'accord.
come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Harros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Ah, attendez, on va regarder. Ah oui, c'est tout un labyrinthe. Bon, on va aller là, vite fait devant pour voir ce qu'il y a. Oh là là! Enfin, moi, ça annonce la couleur, hein, j'ai envie de vous dire. Un petit coffre, allez. Il y a un gros méchant qui m'attend de l'autre côté. Un gros lézard géant. Là, il y a du monde. Bonjour. Oh, vous êtes tout vert, hein. Un peu radioactif, les petits loups, là.
In a bind?
These ones can run rings around us! Time to burn! I'm ready! Where are you going?
Too fast!
Stand back!
I'll trip it up.
Carve now the wall!
Radiant light! I'm ready!
Alphen! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Shine!
Flames will
Radiant
roar!
light! Force
In
of
here!
regeneration!
Le gros loup a disparu.
Allow me to help you.
Here goes! Here I come! Here goes! I'm only getting the steam!
Voilà.
I wonder if we can make new weapons with this.
Il n'y a rien, pas de cachet, non. Hop. Ah bah, bonjour, un gros lézard radioactif. Alors, une menthe dévastatrice. Allez, vas-y, ma petite Rinwell.
Crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Eat dirt!
Mega ray! A wailing beauty of lightning!
Handle this. Stalagmite!
I never miss! Field! Mega ray! More for the sky! Wait that! I'll take it from here. Let
Yes,
the blood handle
Rinwell.
Deus roar! Photon
C'est rare calcimé, ma petite Rinwell, mais... Calcimé, elle fait pas semblant. Je vais mettre un petit cercle de soin là-bas en espérant que ça va jusque là-bas. Chaud. Ah, c'est bien. Bon, ah oui, c'est vrai, mon cercle de soin s'est agrandi. C'est vrai, c'est vrai. Oh, forcément, ça aide. Bien joué. Oula, 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 oula. Empêche-le, lui. Ok. Voilà. Aïe, oui, 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 oui. Arrête, arrête, arrête. Ouch. Ah non. Ah bah oui, là par contre. Ah bah voilà, rien du tout. Attends, bouge pas. Oui, ah oui, là.
A new leaf of raging cascade! It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! I'll bring you
Alors,
back.
je vais essayer de les raise. Non! Waouh, 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 il va pas vouloir rien.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss. Resuscitation!
Allez.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Un, on a deux. Waouh! Oh, l'esquive.
Another incantation ruined.
On va mettre un peu de soin. Ah! Oula, bah oui. C'est pas grave.
Say no more.
C'est bon, hop, allez, j'ai souffert à la fin, dommage, j'étais vraiment bien parti. Mais oui, j'ai douillé à la fin, hein. Ouh là là, alors attendez. Oui, non, ça va, à part Alphen et Shionne, pas trop pris tarif. Est-ce que c'est bien là? Oui. Bonjour.
An opponent like this should be easy.
Fais-le de bouger, il me saoule.
Leave the ensnaring to me. Yeah, and pummeling to me. No further. Take this. Allow me to help you. Crescent fly. Light burst forth.
Radiant Genesis!
Fire in the hole. Fire support.
Here goes!
Là, ils sont énervés.
Astral energy!
Say no more.
All disaster confiscated!
You picked the wrong fight.
Purge malevolence! Arctic waterfall! Dance in the wind! In here!
Non.
In a bind.
I'll be saving this one! There! Lenegis!
I'm ready.
Leave him in Wind accelerator! Astral energy!
Say no
Encore?
more.
Ah, bah dis donc. Ils sont
I
énervés
know
les deux
fine
là.
weapon material when I see it.
Donc là, pas de coffre non plus. On continue. Donc là, bien sûr, il va y avoir du monde. Voyons voir là. Ah, voilà. Hop. D'accord. Shortcake. Gâteau moelleux fourré de crème et de fraises. Gare à celui ou celle qui osera voler la fraise qui trône au sommet. Ok. Très bien. Bonjour. Encore un radioactif. Deux même.
Too late to talk over our differences?
Ah mais punaise, pourquoi je me suis pas esquivé? Quelle andouille. Ah, on appelle ça. Et t'as intercepté mec mais d'une force. Calme-les un peu. Ok, voilà.
All yours, Kisara.
A whirling struggle.
Et hop.
Wind and force.
Allow me to help.
Cyclone. Now this is it.
Allez, meurs. Ah bah. Oula.
Flaming pillar! Fire!
Oui. Bien joué.
All yours, Kisara.
Allez, Kisara. Et voilà.
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking.
Alors, attends. Oulala, je vais avoir besoin d'objets. La Gédor, non. 60. On va remettre ça quand même. Et un petit peu de ça quand même aussi. Bonjour. Alors attends, 2 minutes. Y a rien là. Ok, maintenant on peut y aller. Leurs vlad.
Being interrupted.
Here. Bring you down.
Not today!
Can't get out of this.
Attends, continue à les soigner en même temps. Ah bah t'as énervé Dohalim maintenant. Ah bah dis donc.
Behold,
Ah bah voilà.
the earth pulse. Tectonic vision. Reflect on thy sins. They smite with blackened blade.
Ils énervent, hein.
Rising Wyvern! Ignite!
Don't suffer.
I'll heal you all. Here.
I owe you one.
Healing circle.
Allez.
Take this.
Demon Fang!
That'll bring you down.
Demon Fang!
Can you take it?
Demon Fang!
I'll stop its charge. Thanks, Kisara.
Heal.
Healing circle.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Magna ray. Dance in the wind.
You picked the wrong fight!
Sweet now. Magna ray. More for the stockpile. Ready to go. Thunderblade. I can do this.
In a bind.
Soaring Light Spin!
Aïe, 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 aïe.
Regenerate.
Technique de la loutre. Attention. Ouh là là.
Here's a healing art. First hand. I'll heal you all.
Je vais mettre un truc parce que là,
Healing circle.
ça va me coûter plus en PS de réanimer un par un au lieu de faire, tout le monde. Oh les filles.
Take this.
Magna ray.
You're mine! Rising Wyvern! Finish it!
Kisara, go for it.
Prepare to crumble.
Allez. Hop,
That took
next.
more energy than I expected.
Bah, dis donc. Attendez. Si je passe par là, je vais... Ah, là-bas, dans un cul-de-sac. Ok. Allons voir. Il doit bien y avoir... Oui, déjà, il y a des couillons. Ça, c'est sûr. Des cristaux, des trucs à récupérer. Allez. Et tu me saoules, toi.
Your reflexes will not serve you well here.
Think again. Healing art. First aid.
Oh, les filles.
Time to let it rip!
Celestial order.
Ready and free! Iron Swarm!
There. Magna ray.
Calme tout le monde. Voilà. C'est un lapin qui balance de la magie.
Now, Alphen. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Magna
Ah bah voilà. Ah franchement, je sais pas ce qu'ils font, mais ils sont en train de me les énerver. Après, c'est vrai que dans les compétences, j'ai activé des choses qui permettent justement d'avoir, on va dire, cette espèce de limite entre parenthèses, hein, je sais pas comment ça s'appelle, plus rapidement. Du coup, des résultats, ouais, ça s'enchaîne. Et c'est bien pratique, hein, je veux dire. Bah, j'ai pas eu le temps. Voilà, allez hop, zou.
With this, I can become even stronger.
Ok, un cristal, ok, c'est bien. Hop, de la sauge. Voilà, je récupère pas mal de cristaux et ça, comme je vous ai déjà dit, c'est hyper important. Ah non, non, ça va. Bah si, justement, Emma, c'est eux. Bonjour, ah, du coup je reviens. Salut. Je pratique sa magie. Arrête. Aïe, pauvre truc. Allez, où?
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone! A whirling struggle! Winds of Heaven! First force!
No further!
Shield! Here it now! Alphen! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Allez, ouh.
We can really make
Allez,
weapons
c'est
with
parti. On est bientôt à la fin de ce foutu tunnel, mais je vois qu'il y a de plus en plus de monstres. Lancier fortifié, désagrégeur fortifié. Ok, ce que je prends en radioactif, ça doit être ça. Ou pas, hein, je sais pas du tout.
In a bind? A scream fades. Time to let it rip. Negative
Allez, c'est temps de lancer un petit cercle de soins. On va attendre pour le petit cercle de soins. Oh là là, il est colère. Allez, je suis tranquille, je crois que je vais pouvoir le lancer. Ouh, waouh. C'est pas la peine, j'ai pas réussi à l'atteindre.
Where are you going? Dohalim! This one's got your name on it!
Take this! I'm ready!
Kizara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Bien.
You're quite the gunslinger.
I have to
Ok,
be in this
donc là,
world.
juste
Don't
là,
worry,
bien.
I've got your back.
Voilà. Un petit coffre. Ah oui, 21 600 gold. Ce n'est point négligeable. Oh, ça va nous emmener ici. C'est parti.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Waouh.
Yes!
D'accord.
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shionne.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shionne. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegis. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shionne, you okay?
Yeah, it was all just a little sudden. That's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Eh bien, mes geeks, on va s'arrêter ici. On en apprend beaucoup, surtout sur le passé de Alphen, sur celui de Naori, qui est l'ancêtre de Shionne, un peu aussi sur Dohalim, ces tournois de couronnes, ces histoires de seigneurs et de dames. Bref, Arrivé sur Lenegis, ça reste quand même une source d'informations énorme. Sur ce, mes petits geeks, je vous dis à demain pour la suite. Ciao tout le monde!